Hi friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of Bookish Bliss. We have a lot to discuss today.
Yes, this week we are discussing our final thoughts of A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. There will be spoilers since we were discussing our favorite things from the entire book. So you do have to read the whole book to listen, and it's just a little bitty one, so It's easy to catch up on. Amanda, what are you drinking tonight?
Megan, I'm dehydrated, so I'm drinking my water today out of my new Brewmate mocha cup.
Ooh, I love it.
Thanks. What are you drinking?
Well, since we're drinking tonight at book club, I am also drinking a water to stay hydrated. So, of course, I am drinking a bubbly. Blackberry bubbly is my favorite.
Oh, I forgot we're drinking at book club tonight. I better drink a lot of this water.
Yes, you will need it.
All right.
Bubbly.
Let's cheers to our final thoughts of our fourth book.
Cheers. So exciting.
Now let's get started with the good stuff and discuss our final thoughts. Over to you, Meg. Please tell us your final rating that you gave ACOFAS.
So the first time I read this book, I did give it 4 stars, and I think that I am going to stick with my rating. I just don't feel like I can change my rating from when I read it the first time to the second time, unless I felt very differently about it, and I didn't feel overwhelmingly different about this book. I think it's a good information dump. I think that it's mostly just fluff, and I don't think that I was like overly obsessed with it. So I'm going to keep my rating at 4 stars.
That makes sense.
Yeah. How about you?
I did give it a 4.5, but because I thought it was good information, a nice little break in between a bunch of big, thick books, and I also gave ACOTAR a 4.5, and I feel like it wasn't worse than that book, so I couldn't go lower. But I also didn't want to give it a 5-star because, it's just like a cute little novella. It's not, if you think about the purpose of it, I think it fit the purpose. Yeah. But there could have been a little more to give it that 5 stars, But we definitely got a lot of information, some fun POVs from different characters. And it was a cute ending. Perfect little Hallmark Christmas special.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gave us some cute scenes, like you said, and it does give us useful information moving on into the series and kind of wrapping up the first 3 books from Feyre's point of view. Yeah. I did enjoy ACOTAR, I will say, more than I enjoyed ACOFAS. Yeah. I think I was just too excited to move on to Silver Flames when I read it the first time, and I felt the same way going on to this one. I just need to get this over with so I can get to the next one, where I was excited to read ACOTAR again, and I was excited to read ACOTAR the first time to continue the series, not just as I need to read this to get it over with, which is how I still felt this time.
No, that totally makes sense, yeah. And I think if it was a full book, we would have obviously gotten a lot more out of it, but so I'm trying not to compare it to the other ones, but it didn't give me that full 5-star to me.
No, I definitely wasn't really squealing or being like, oh my God. I mean, maybe a few scenes, but I feel like in the other books, I'm hooked in the whole time. Yeah. Where I feel like I had to push myself to read this the first time, and I feel like I had to do that again this time just to get it done.
Yeah. I agreed. All right, so we're at 4.5. No 5 stars for this one.
No, they can't all be 5.
That's true. That's very true. At least we're honest, We could say 5 stars, but then it's like, why do we even say our ratings at that point?
Yeah, there has to be times where we're not like 1,000% sold on a book. Do I think that this book is necessary for the series? Yes, I think like you do need to read this book for the series. Yeah. You can't skip it, but it's not my favorite.
Megan, tell us who your favorite character was for ACOFAS.
I think that my favorite character in ACOFAS was Cassian.
Really?
Yeah, I just really enjoyed learning more about him.
Yeah.
I really liked learning about more about his mom and how he grew up and just like hearing his thoughts and feelings from his perspective and not from Feyre's perspective for
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed getting to know him more. And then obviously I still think he's hilarious with the decorating for Solstice with
Yeah, that
Feyre
was
and just getting
funny.
drunk and it just being like absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
So I just love this build up that we have with Cassian at this moment. We're just waiting to see what's going to explode in Silver Flames with Nesta.
Nesta,
And
yeah.
I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed him in this book. I think, I love Feyre. I love Reese. Not the biggest fan of Moore.
Yeah.
So I feel like those are the people we saw a lot in this book. And I think Cassian for me won out.
Yeah. I agree. I think
Yeah.
it was really nice to see Cassian's point of view for sure. They're having a good time when he's around,
Yeah.
joking and picking on each other like siblings.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice and refreshing in a book like this where we're seeing war and people nervous to die all the time. So
Yeah, and I just think it was nice to see another perspective, I guess.
it was nice to hear his backstory more,
Yeah.
because he grew up in the Illyrian camps and had a rough time, but to learn more about his mom and him going to mourn her was like also a shock. Like you don't expect to read that in the Christmas special.
No, and I think it just shows like his character and where he came from and why he is the way that he is and why it's so important for these Illyrian girls to be training. And there's just so much more depth to him that we get to see in this Christmas special or
Yeah.
holiday special than we
Yeah.
would and from Favor's point of view. And so I don't know, I guess it was just like such a nice change of
Definitely.
pace for me that I just enjoyed reading those chapters more than any other perspectives.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Amanda, who was your favorite character in A Court of Frost and Starlight?
So I have to go with Feyre again.
Favorite girly.
I literally was like, I don't know why, maybe because she's a main character. I'm like, am I going to pick her again? She's kind of like the obvious, Reese and Feyre, but I really can't think of someone I like more than her in this book. And I think it's just because we see her being the High Lady, and I feel like she's going above and beyond for those people. And Reese does too, don't get me wrong. But I feel like he's more business and she's more like, how can I help my people?
Right.
With the art studio, making that for free and giving them the opportunity to tell them about even the little issues they're dealing with, like the lamppost being out, or just that was so refreshing to me. But yeah, and I think it also spills into my favorite part, seeing the studio at the end where all the community was chipping in and it was all for the children who had been traumatized by the war. Because these people, you have to think about it. Valeris has been hidden for hundreds of years. They don't even know what war is. And they're living in this blissful little bubble. And then all of a sudden they get attacked by these scary Ator creatures. And then by Hybern again breaks through. So I'm like, this is crazy and probably super traumatic. And the fact that the whole community is chipping in, all the art teachers are going to teach classes, it's free for the kids. I just loved that so much. It was definitely my favorite part right at the end of the book.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, you really can't hate on Feyre. I mean, maybe some people
No.
can, but we are not Feyre
No.
haters about anything she does. We might have some critiques at times, but
I mean, she definitely was annoying as fuck in the beginning. Like, I just wanted to punch her in the face sometimes. I'm like, why are you thinking this or doing this? Like, why? But she's grown on me. She was my favorite in ACOWAR too, and she's just on the good side now.
Feyre, don't put the two halves of the book together.
Yeah, like I was fucking pissed about that. What else did she do that pissed us off in ACOWAR?
Oh, she showed all of her powers to the High Lords
Yeah.
when she wasn't
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
show
yeah.
her powers to the High Lords. I mean,
Yeah.
even like from the first book when Tamlin had to tell her 8,000 times that her family was well taken care of.
I know. Yeah.
It finally clicked after 16 chapters or something. I don't know.
Exactly. So she definitely had her annoying points, but she's just unapologetically herself.
Yeah, we love her.
And has grown. Yeah, she's just grown into the role of High Lady so nicely, and it's portrayed in this book.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think the people love her
of
Valeris. So
she's one of them.
she's definitely one of them, yeah. So that's kind of my favorite character / favorite part. So tell us what your favorite part of the book was now.
So my two favorite parts have to do with Feyre, which is why, even though she wasn't my favorite character,
Yeah.
my two favorite parts were, I think this happened first. I don't know what happened first, which is surprising for me. But my first favorite part is when we find out that Feyre gets the studio from the family and she is going to leave the world a better place. R.I.P. the cereal. I cried so hard. I cried so hard when she said that about why she wanted to open this studio up. And obviously the reasons are good, but just with that little tagline in there, remembering what the cereal said to her, literally was sobbing, crying again. We'll never get over the cereal's death. Justice, even though Ianthe is dead, justice will never be served, in my opinion. And then
I agree. I know. You feel so strongly about the cereal.
I really do. I feel so strongly about the cereal. And then my second favorite part is when we find out that Reese's mom had been creating all, like the one that had created all of Feyre's dresses. And I just love that. And it's almost like she knew, like she needed to get these done, like just in case, like she wouldn't be around. And I don't know. It just like literally broke my heart a little bit reading that part that
I know. And they were even like, she would have loved you and I would have loved her too. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, these pieces are so sentimental and Feyre felt so strongly connected to them before she even knew where they came from. And it just kind of just solidifies their love and their mating and they're meant to be.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love both those parts.
Yes.
R.I.P. the cereal.
R.I.P. the cereal. Yeah, those two parts like really got me in my feels. And so clearly they have to be my favorite parts of the book.
Yeah, that makes sense. The most emotion brought out of you was from those scenes.
Especially sobbing on my couch by myself.
Especially the cereal.
I text Amanda, she's in Ireland. I'm like, I'm crying. And she's like, of course you are.
Yeah, the freaking cereal. I get it, but like it doesn't make me emotional. Maybe I just have a stone heart, but I don't know. I'm just like, oh, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, or I don't know what it is. The cereal sacrificed themselves for Feyre. They knew by going to the woods that day, going to Feyre's call, just showing themselves to Feyre in that moment when she ended up in the middle. They knew they were going to die and they stood there and talked to Feyre and gave her the answer that she needed because she was always so caring and kind to the cereal. And it just breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. Sobs.
I know.
Tears.
He didn't have to die.
Yeah.
It didn't have to die. I don't know if it's a he.
Yeah, that was unnecessarily breaking my heart, Sarah, but it's not the first time she's done it. Actually, it was the first time she did it, but she's done it many more times after that, so we have beef.
Oh no, I'm scared.
I'm sure you'll see me cry a few more times. Not.
Oh, I believe it. I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
That's so funny. All right, so just a few quick questions, and we're going to go through a series of events that happened in the book and just chat about them. Very laid back.
So, one of our quick little questions that we wanted to ask each other. The first one is, who was your favorite point of view during A Court of Frost and Starlight?
Ooh, favorite point of view. So we get Feyre, we get Rhys.
We get Cassian.
We get Cassian.
We get a little Nesta.
We
get Morgan.
And more. Who is my favorite? Well, besides Feyre, because we get her for 3 books. So I'm going to leave her out of this discussion. But I think it's a tie between Rhys and Morgan, actually. But I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Rhys, number one, I just love to hear how in love he is with Feyre. It's just like, I just drool. I'm just like,
why can't I have this?
Yeah. Like, I just love his point of view. What did he say when they had sex, after they had sex in the cabin?
He was like, I was utterly destroyed.
Yeah. That just is, so nice to read. I'm like, I could read Rhysand's POV all damn day.
Yeah.
But Morgan, I would say, is tied because of that one scene where she has this secret fucking estate now. This monster's watching her. I was just so surprised by it that I'm like, I need more of her POV to see what else is going to pop out at me that I'm going to be shocked over. So,
Yeah, when you said Moore was in there for a tie, I knew that was why you
yeah.
picked her because, yeah, it's very intriguing and kind of sketchy that she
I
has
know.
this secret estate that nobody knows about.
Yeah. I was just so mind blown at that part.
Mm-hmm.
So weird to throw in this book, but also I get it because they're buying solstice gifts for each other. They're building this new community up and they're concentrating on Valeris. And all of a sudden you hear about a secret estate she had for 300 years that we read 6,000 pages in the last 3 books and have not heard this once about, which I get is from Feyre's point of view. So that's why I'm like, I need more of more to figure out these secrets.
Yeah, because obviously this little novella was wrapping up Feyre's point of view
Right.
and leading us into the next set of books, really leading us into Cassian and Nesta's point of view. And I think, yeah, this random throw in at the end with more, it's like, what was
Yeah, you have
that?
to like
I've been
read it
waiting.
twice. Like you don't even believe you just read it. And I'm like, huh? What? What does it say?
Yeah. And like I said last episode, I've been waiting since 2021 to figure out what the heck is going on up there. And I still don't know.
Yeah.
And it's almost, who knows if we'll even find out in the next book.
That's crazy. I hope we do because I need to know. But
And even that estate that Azriel went to, Rosewood or whatever it was called, like who is
yes.
she and who is he going to see
Ooh.
and giving a gift to from Reese?
Yeah, I forgot about that actually.
So there's 2 places that we were like, what is that and what is going on and who are these people?
Yeah. Definitely need to figure that out. But, you know, we just got to keep reading, keep chugging, find some clues where we can.
Yeah, try to connect some dots.
Who is your favorite POV?
I think I'm just going to stick with Cassian and even the little Nesta tidbit we get at the end because it just truly is so heartbreaking from Nesta to see how traumatized and deeply, deeply affected she's been by the events of the war, turning high fae and everything that's occurred since then. I think it really sets us up nicely for the next book. And yeah, it just was really great to see other perspectives besides Feyre in this book. So really any perspective that wasn't Feyre.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Feyre's perspective, and I loved all of those scenes with her as well, but it was just such a nice change of pace to hear from other people and see how they view things, just not from her eyes.
Yeah, and I think it was masterly set up how she just did Nesta for like a page and a half maybe, just to show the despair that she really is in this depressive state, setting us up for the next book. And it was nice to get Cassian's point of view too, because he's a huge part of Nesta's story, I would imagine. I mean, I hope so. I'm hoping he's a huge part of her story, and to see his point of view and kind of set the stage for where his mind is was really nice. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, and I think I just like anytime that things like this pop up, I like to remind our listeners that Amanda has not read on to any other books. She is just reading as we go through the podcast. She hasn't read any other of Sarah's series, Throne of Glass, Crescent City. She's literally caught up to the podcast, so she doesn't know what happens in these other books.
Yes, and I have them all bought on my shelf and ready to go whenever we're ready, but I'm getting there slowly but surely. I'm only 4 books in. Megan's 16 out of 16? Is there 16 books?
Yeah.
Damn.
I've read them
only
all.
A quarter through.
We'll get you there.
Yes,
we'll get you there.
Slowly but surely, we'll get there together.
Yes. And then my last little question for you is, whose point of view would you have liked to have heard from in this holiday special?
Good question, Megan. Good question. Number 1, Azriel. For sure, Azriel. Elaine, even. I would have loved a POV from Elaine because she seems like she's doing better, but I'm sure she's got some demons that she battles still on a daily basis, and I would love to just explore that a little in her. But Azriel would be my number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know really anything about him besides that weird tidbit about the Rose Hall, and he's a shadow singer. He grew up the same way with Reese. We know the backstory, but...
And we know he's not actually winnowing from Cassian's perspective. It's some sort of other trick with because he's a shadow singer with his shadows.
Yeah, so I think an Azriel POV is necessary. We need to get it. I need it.
Yeah. I
As
need
soon as
it.
possible, Sarah. As soon as
Well,
possible.
I can tell you that there is a special POV, not in the next book, but as an addition to the next book that we're reading from Asriel's point of view.
No. So wait, so
Yep.
an extra chapter, like a bonus chapter?
Yep.
Really? So I have to read the whole fucking book to read it?
Yeah, I'm going to actually do a little investigating
Yeah.
as we start the next book to see if we can slip it
Yeah.
into, not as a bonus chapter, but like into the scene itself, like after something happens.
Yeah. That would be
Um,
perfect.
but yeah, so there will be at least one
Yay!
little chapter that you can
I'm
read.
so excited. That just made my day, literally. I'm so happy.
I thought I would throw you that little tidbit because
Yes.
it's not really a spoiler.
No, I mean, it's an extra bonus chapter. You know, you can flip to the back of the book and see that at any time. So,
Yeah.
how about you, Megan? Who do you want to see? Who's POV?
Because we've had nothing from her, I want Elaine point of views. And I really just don't think we're going to get one until we have an Elaine book.
Yeah.
But I just need to know what's going on in that girl's head. There's just been so many theories out there about Elaine, about who Elaine's going to end up with. Is she going to have this like evil arc that no one knows about? I think there's just been so much said about her that I hope everyone's just completely wrong and we're just mind blown with what Sarah has for us. Though I don't want to get my hopes up too much about what happens with Elaine, but I really just need to know what's going on in that girl's head. At the end of the day, wherever she ends up with, she ends up with. I'm not going to pick sides. I really just want to naturally flow into who she will end up with. And I just don't feel that strongly about it. I felt very strongly who I felt Feyre should end up with. And I don't know who Elaine should end up with, but I really just think it's because we don't have any perspective from her. So really, she is the biggest mystery to me besides Asriel and more. But I think I just really want to hear from Elaine next. She's the next sister and I need to know more.
No, I totally agree. She was definitely second on my list because... you know, she's recovered so much faster than Nesta. And Feyre, I feel like, hasn't even fully recovered. She just throws herself into her work, which might be what Elaine is doing with the gardens and everything. I just feel like there's so much that meets the eye with her that I would definitely want to see. And also, she's third on my list, but Amren would be a cool POV.
Yes. We know we're going to hear from Elaine at some point. We kind of have this bonus chapter from Asriel in the next book, but we really don't have any perspectives of Amren. And I want to know how she's dealing with being in her new High Fae body, like fully as High Fae.
I could only imagine if they ever wrote a POV, even a chapter. It would be hilarious, probably, because she's so grumpy and upfront. She would be saying the funniest shit, even though she doesn't mean it to be funny, but I would be dying at her POV, I think.
For sure. Maybe she'll get a novella. I don't know.
Or even, you know, we could take a bonus chapter for Amren, too. I would be okay with
a
that.
nice bonus chapter. I have a lot of different novellas I would like to see. So we keep saying, oh, this could be a novella. This could be...
Imagine Sarah. How does she pick?
I don't know. I guess it's just whatever she thinks she can write the most on, I guess, is how she, or whatever she feels strongly connected to.
Interesting. Great questions, though, Megan. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
There was a lot of information given in the book, I think, that I don't know because I haven't read Silver Flames, but I feel like it is important just to address going forward so we remember it. We don't just toss the small book to the side and dig into the big bad boy next.
Yeah, I think this list is definitely something that we should be looking towards for the next book. Or just important things that have happened in the story. Or fun things we find funny.
Perfect.
Or one of them is one of the things we find funny.
All right. So, first on the list, Lucian is part of the Band of Exiles.
Yes, this I think is going to be super important. We won't lie, we did start the next book a little bit and it's already come into play a little bit. I think the dynamics between Jurian, Vasa, and Lucian are going to be very, very important to how the story progresses. Maybe not so much for Silver Flames, but I definitely think if we get an Elaine book, it's really going to come into play there. But I just think their dynamics are so interesting and so odd that it's definitely going to have some bigger meaning.
Yeah. Totally. And I feel like there's some split feelings, at least between us and Rachel. Hi, Rachel. We love you. Rachel is one of our great friends who's in our book club with us. She reads along with the podcast, and she texted us about Lucian. And I feel like there's some split thoughts here. Mm-hmm. Is he a poor thing, or is he doing it to himself? Tell us what you think, Megan.
Yeah. So I go back and forth on this. I feel like I'm 1 second I'm very poor Lucian, and the next minute I'm like, he needs a kick in the ass. And even when I posted a little clip talking about Lucian and Elaine on our Instagram page, we got a couple of people who are very adamant about Lucian needing a kick in the ass or a kick out of the book entirely.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't read the comments because I'm nervous that I'm going to get spoiled something. So
yeah. So one of the comments said that they wouldn't mind if he got kicked out of the book entirely. Wow. So I don't know if he should be kicked out of the book entirely. Yeah, I think that the points that everyone made in the post were very true. And they're kind of ones that I agree with. Like, he's not helping himself. He is not giving Elaine the time to grieve her human life and her human relationship. And then he fucks off to Vasa and Jurian and not spending time in Valaris where Elaine is living and getting to know her for who she is. He doesn't know a thing about her besides she likes to garden and that she is his mate. Yeah, and that's literally it. That's all he knows about her. I feel like
that's all we know about her.
And that's Feyre's sister. Yeah, that's true. But I feel like he is not going to find anything else about her, or they're not going to ever bond, or she's never going to become fond of him if he just is never around.
Yeah. No,
and
I totally agree with that.
Then he's throwing himself a pity party with Jurian and Vasa, and it's just, I don't know if I feel bad for him in that moment. But then other times when Feyre's giving him shit for it, I'm like, poor Lucian.
I know.
And then Tamlin punches him in the face for what? And I'm like, poor Lucian.
Yeah, when it comes to Tamlin, I'm like, poor Lucian all day because he deals with way too much shit from that little wolf boy. But I do.
Tammy do nothing.
Yeah, Tammy do nothing. Yeah. He wants Lucian to do everything, poor Lucian. So I definitely see the poor Lucian vibes for Tamlin. Feyre, I feel like, can be a little harsh with him sometimes, but it's because, that Elaine is her sister. So she's going to defend her sister and try and get the best for her no matter what.
I just literally think Feyre loves Lucian so much too. And she feels like he's not helping himself in this moment by being like, oh, she wants nothing to do with me. But she's like, but you're not around.
Yeah. And she's not wrong. I mean, he really does not put any effort in when it comes to Elaine, and he just thinks it's gonna change. When she was getting tea, she didn't leave the room because of him. She left the room to get tea, and you left before she was even done making the tea. Well, you can't talk to someone if you literally don't give them a chance to talk. So
yeah, Elaine is such a host. That is how she grew up in her household. We saw the ball that Feyre's father threw for her in ACOTAR. Elaine is networking in the room. Elaine is always interacting with everyone and hosting. She's a host. Right. And by Lucian coming over and her not having tea ready or really anything to give him, was it to give herself a minute to collect herself away from him? Probably, yes. But she was making the tea to bring it back into the room to give to Lucian and to Feyre and herself to have this conversation or a conversation. And he leaves 2 minutes in without even saying goodbye to her. That wouldn't show me that you're interested in being with me or being my mate.
Yeah. I also have some understanding for him, for Lucian, and why he's kind of running out of the Night Court and to Jurian and Vasa and his little band of exiles, because he already felt so out of place literally everywhere he's been. The Autumn Court, the Spring Court, the Night Court, like he just doesn't feel comfortable in these places. So I can see why he's so quick to like make a decision and get out of there. Not saying it's right, but I can say I understand why he feels that way sometimes, and probably wants to go back to somewhere where he's comfortable, where he feels like nobody really belongs, so they all kind of belong because nobody belongs there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like I do understand that to a sense, but when it comes to Elaine, he's completely doing it to himself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe he belongs in the day court.
True. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't feel comfortable anywhere. If he knew that about himself, though, Maybe he would feel comfortable in the J court.
But I think that's going to be a huge blowout when Lucian finds out who his daddy really is, and Feyre knew the whole time. Not that anyone confirmed it to her,
Right.
but she knows, and Rhys knows, and she has not told Lucian, and they're supposedly friends. That's going to be a big, big fight.
Yeah. I know, because I can see why she waited. I mean, obviously they were mid-war, and there was
and he wasn't even there.
Yeah. There was way more things to occupy your mind at that time. Like, you don't even know if you're going to live or die. So what's the point of blowing his life up? But now that they're over it, and I know it's not over. We still have the human queens and the human lands with the wall down and everything. But it's calmed down enough where I feel like she could have definitely had a conversation with him.
Oh, she should have definitely had a conversation with him already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enough about that little redhead fox. So we already kind of touched on this too, but I feel like it's an important series of events, so I'll mention it again. Mm-hmm. Cassian mentions mourning his mother at the top of an abandoned mountain.
Yeah, his old village that is now empty after he did a lot of damage in it and everyone else left. I think that's definitely a big plot point in his story for sure.
Yeah, and I can put his feelings into perspective, too, about how he sees Nesta going through this loss of a parent. Her dad died right in front of her eyes, and they didn't have the best relationship, and how she's dealing with it. And, you know, he's gone through the same thing. He loved his mom. Oh, that's the perception I got anyway. Like, they didn't have the same relationship as Nesta and their dad, but... You know, he went through losing her in a very traumatic way and, you know, deals with it a little differently, you know, blowing up the fucking place because they wouldn't tell him where his mom was buried or anything. So it just puts into perspective how he's going to deal with Nesta, I think, going forward in Silver Flames.
Yeah, I definitely think they have a lot of similar qualities that I think he recognizes, but I'm not sure if she does at the moment, where he can really help be helpful towards Nesta in her healing if she would just let him help her.
Yeah, totally true. Oh, I thought this one was interesting too. Elaine gives Azriel a cool gift with the little... Was it like a serum or a powder or something?
It was a powder that he can put in his tea or whatever to help with his headaches, because the group always is giving him a headache and he's always rubbing his temples. So she's definitely been observing Azriel.
Yeah, I think that's some serious foreshadowing, and you kind of mentioned this a little earlier that you're not sure who her love interest is, and I feel like this is foreshadowing that it's going to be a little, is it Azriel? Is it Lucian? Is it... I don't know if somebody else comes into the play, but that's what I'm thinking right now. It's going to be a little battle between those two to see who wins her heart. So
I definitely think Azriel is interested. He's very protective of Helene and even her relationship with Lucian as her mate. He's very protective of, I'm not spying, I am not placing bets, I am not doing whatever when it comes to it. He's kind of keeping himself very separate from the Lucian Elaine mess, but he's definitely there for Elaine, and I definitely think that he has some feelings, which makes me feel really bad for Azriel because he keeps falling for people who are not meant for him.
I know. Yeah, because once you're mated, you can't switch your mate.
No, they would never be mated.
Yeah, they can choose to be together and not be mated, but still to get that full mated bond loving effect must be obviously what they all obtain or try to obtain anyway.
But the only mated bond that we've seen so far that has been loving is really Feyre and Rhys, and then Callias and Vivian. Yeah. But besides that, we haven't seen mated bonds be like great pairings. Yeah. So that could, maybe Lucian Elaine is just one of those pairings where it's just
not gonna happen.
It's a mate, but it's not. There's no love there. So I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait for the book.
Yep, I guess so. All right, next. Oh, this was so funny. Amryn hates having to go to the bathroom so often as High Fae. She's still grumpy, and Nesta and her have the best relationship in this book. Amryn won't even tell Feyre the conversations he's exchanged.
Yeah, I know. Amryn, she definitely has Nesta's back in A Frost and Starlight. I mean, she's always had Nesta's back since she became High Fae. But
Right.
yeah, I definitely think it's an interesting dynamic. I think because Nesta is very powerful, and even Amryn helped Rhys to control his overwhelming power. I think Amryn is the best person for Nesta to
Yeah.
be helping her navigate these powers, but I guess we'll have to see what happens from here.
I know. That's why I'm a little interested that we didn't get, or a little confused, I should say, that we didn't get an Amryn point of view, because she is the one that I feel like had the most dramatic change
Right.
at the end of ACOWAR. So it would have been nice to get a little, even if it was just a chapter of how she's feeling or dealing with it. And I know we get like the funny bathroom scene where they're all at the table and she doesn't like the food and stuff like that, but I just feel like it would have been nice to just hear it from her point of view for,
Yeah. There must be a reason, but I don't know what it is.
Reason. What is the reason?
What is the reason?
Moore had a secret estate that she bought 300 years ago.
Shady.
I can't believe we still don't even find out what this is about in Silver Flames, though.
I really don't think that we do. But I did say that about a few things.
It's some sneaky foreshadowing, then.
It definitely is some sneaky foreshadowing, and I think, there's something not right going on there. Not right. And there's just so much with Moore that I just am having a hard time connecting with, like Eris being this bad guy, when Eris, literally, we know why he didn't save her, because then they would be responsible for her. She would be Autumn Court property, and she didn't want that.
Right.
So yes, him leaving her out there is terrible, but he was also respecting her wishes of not wanting to be a part of the Autumn Court and releasing her back. I think Eris knew at the end of the day, like, Bats 1, 2, and 3 was going to come find her and scoop her up. Yeah. I just think that Eris overall has not showed us anything really too bad about himself. Like, we know that he saved Lucien and he's the reason why he made it over the Spring Court border. Going after Feyre and Lucien in ACOWAR was his father driving that, and his awful brothers were with him, and he just didn't have a choice. Yeah, I think that there's more to Eris that is leaning to me towards he's not bad. Which makes me think that what's going on with Moore. And with this secret layer, I just don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I know. I don't like it either. And honestly, I think you said this to me actually when we were reading about Eris, that when you read about Kier, you can see he's like this bad guy. Or even Baron, when you read about Baron, you can see he's like this evil guy. And then Eris is portrayed to be so evil by Moore. And I just feel like when you meet him and him interacting even with Rhys, it just doesn't feel the same as when Baron is introduced as a bad guy or Kier. So I think you did mention that to me, and ever since then I'm like, yeah, I don't see it either how he is actually evil yet.
Yeah, because you're getting these perspectives of Eris from Moore and Lucien, who would know him the best, but he admits he's the reason why Lucien made it into the Spring Court, and he wasn't even there when they executed Lucien's love, and he technically helped Moore in the only way that he could help her. And so it's like, what is so bad about Eris at this point, besides from the two people who feel so strongly or negatively about him, but they don't know. Well, Moore, I think, knows the truth, but Lucien doesn't know what Eris did for him.
Yeah, that secret layer giving me bad feelings about Moore, not gonna lie.
And what darkness is watching her. And
do you actually think it's a secret to everyone, though, or do you think somebody knows without her knowing?
I think Azriel knows. I think there's no way Azriel doesn't know.
Yeah. I agree. I think there's no way, or Rhys for that matter. I feel like for 300 years you're just disappearing to this place and they don't know where you're going, and it doesn't seem like it could be a full on secret.
Or maybe she thinks it is a secret, and
I think she thinks it is, but I don't think it actually is.
I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
And the darkness watching her, I have some ideas about.
I don't. I have no idea
who it could be, but I can't say because Amanda has not read of all of Esham's books, and I have.
Yeah, la la
la la la la la.
Yeah, no, I gave up on guessing the creatures because you know, you can go anywhere with that. So without any help in that department, I can't make an educated prediction.
Yeah. Without me spoiling 2 other series for her,
Yeah.
she cannot make a prediction.
Yeah. So we'll just leave it at that
Yeah.
for now. Next on the list is Nesta's POV, showing that she's feeling very empty and this nothingness, which we already kind of touched on too, but I think it's a great segue into her POV in Silver Flames.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add about Nesta?
Oh.
Yeah, I think we covered it earlier.
Yeah.
How about Feyre wanting to try for a baby?
I know.
That was wild.
Cute.
And we know it's going to be years, and it's only been 2 years since all this fucking shit has happened, so I doubt we're going to get a baby in Silver Flames. But you don't have to tell me or answer that.
Not saying anything.
I feel like it's going to be too soon for them to have a whole last baby in the next book, but
yeah,
that would be cool if we eventually get a Fae baby.
Yeah, that would be cute. I love babies.
Yeah. I love me a good baby.
I love me a good baby.
Feyre also gives Rhys a picture of her from the Ouroboros.
Which I was actually really shocked that she gave it to him because she said she would never give him the painting. And then
I know.
She does.
And I thought for my prediction that he was going to find it. So I feel like I knew he was eventually going to see it, but I did not expect her to straight up give it to him.
In the middle of solstice in front of everybody.
Yeah, and Cassian's like,
I hope that's not your new pet.
That as a pet. Yeah. So funny. So I was so convinced that Rhys was giving Feyre this art studio.
Yeah.
But instead, she gets a full-on estate that's about to be knocked down to literally nothing for her to rebuild whatever the fuck she wants, which is way better than just a puny little art studio. She can make that a part of her new mansion now if she wants.
I know. Yeah.
But I was like, damn.
Yeah. I think the clues were there that they were going to get a new house because they kept saying, it's so cramped in the townhouse. No one likes the House of Wind because of the fucking steps and stuff and how you have to get in. But I did not expect an entire riverfront estate that she would be knocking down and rebuilding.
Well, especially because they kind of infer when they're making all those points about the townhouse that they want to be off on their own.
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, yeah, we're just going to build a giant freaking estate with a room for everybody, and everybody's going to come and live like a happy little family. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I guess they just know at the end of the day, like, they're going to show up no matter what. So we might as well have the space for them because they're going to be coming over.
Yeah, no, for sure. And there's going to even be a nursery for the one-day baby.
So cute. I wonder how many babies they'll have.
Oh my god, you think they're gonna have more than one?
I think so.
Isn't it like super hard to have a Fae baby? Or is it just super rare?
I think it's super rare, but they're a rare couple, so I think they're gonna have
true.
More than one.
Wow, more than one. Maybe twins?
I don't know about that, but
well, we're hoping for more than one baby for sure because, you know, siblings are the best.
Yeah, I would like to see Feyre and Rhysand being overpowered by their children. I think would make for a funny point of view.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. And last on my list was Feyre getting the studio.
Yes.
Great way to end the novella, for sure.
It was definitely a little cutesy wrap-up to her point of view. I hope one day we get her point of view again because I do like to see things from Feyre's perspective. So I hope one day, but maybe not.
It will be weird for me to not see her point of view for a little, I think.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to it. Like the whole ACOTAR world is in her point of view so far for me.
Yeah.
So I'm just like...
Well, really for me too, besides one book so far.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. Mm-hmm. How many books is ACOTAR going to be again?
I think so. After Silver Flames, I think it's going to be 2 more full books and 1 more novella or 2 more novellas. I can't remember, but I hope there's more than that.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think there's so much still left unsaid after the next book. I mean, obviously there's more books, so obviously there's still things left unsaid, but I just think that I don't know. I'm like, how could it just be done in 2 books? I think there should be more.
Agree.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, how come Feyre gets 3 giant books for her point of view and the other sisters only get 1 or 2? Because either way, even if the new book was Nesta, she'd get 2. Because the last one would be Elaine.
Yeah.
Or does Nesta get 3 and Elaine doesn't get any?
I don't think that the next book is going to be Nesta. I think it's going to be Elaine. I would be very shocked. So then
she only gets 1 book?
Yeah.
And then maybe the last one will be Feyre again, or all 3 of them?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That would be cool to like wrap it up with all 3 POVs of the sisters.
Yeah. The sisters. Or maybe the guys.
No, I don't care.
That would be weird.
No.
You're like, no. Fuck what the guys have to say.
Yeah.
We just like that they're hot and we can imagine what they look like.
I mean, we get their perspective like in other ways.
Yeah.
But no, I think.
Yeah, as they interact with the girls.
Yeah.
We get their perspectives for sure. Megan, do you want to tell us about our next book before we close out this episode?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anyone what our next book is. I think when we do our final thoughts for this next book, I think maybe people will be surprised. But with no further ado, we are reading, obviously, A Court of Silver Flames. Well, I have to back it up. This is
It's a big boy. Big boy of the group.
It's so funny because when I bought the series, there was no paperback for A Court of Silver Flames. You had to buy the hardcover, but it doesn't match my other books, which are obviously soft.
You know what that means,
covers,
Megan?
So I have to buy the soft cover.
Oh, I was gonna say you have to buy the hardcover for all the other ones.
Oh no! I'll match the other ones that I have. But yeah, so we will be reading A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. ACOFAS.
I know, I'm like, what do we call it?
This
ACOFAS.
The other ones had obviously
ACOFAS.
3 words after A Court of. It was like always A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Something
A Court of Mist and Fury. And even Frost and Starlight. This is just Silver Flames.
ACOFAS.
But this is ACOFAS.
Yeah,
I think people say. I don't know. We'll have to look. Look it up for sure. But this is our next book
and our final Sarah J. Maas of the series so far. TBD.
Yeah. TBD. What will we do next?
I'm not sure.
What are we scheming?
Scheming for sure. We're always scheming behind the scenes.
Yes. That's all we do.
We do have some very exciting news that we'll share at the end of the next book, but you'll have to stay tuned.
I can't wait. Yes, we do have. We'll be announcing our next book, and we'll be announcing exciting future plans for Bookish
definitely.
Bliss.
So excited! I can't believe this is end of book 4. I'm still mind blown that we're this far ahead.
I know. Well, 3.5, but
for the podcast,
4 books
is what I
for
mean. Yeah.
Like
any new title that we do, I'm going to count it as a book in our back pocket.
Yeah.
You know? It's been 24 weeks, Megan.
No,
did you think we would go this long?
Yes.
I mean, we actually are like thriving and growing a little bit every day. It's so amazing.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. We are little, but we are mighty. And we are just doing this because we love it. And we love just like interacting with you guys when we can. Obviously, we're not growing by the millions or hundreds of thousands in a short period of time, but we are growing, and we're just so excited for the little fan base that we do have, and we're so appreciative.
Like that it's smaller because I feel like there's less pressure, and also I feel like we're learning who already are our biggest fans because they are the ones consistently commenting that we see all the time, and it's just so awesome. I feel like we're all friends. We all read these books together and we all love them the same and talk about them the same. And it's been really fun. And I can't wait to continue.
Yeah, I know. We love our virtual little book club. And we obviously created this virtual book club to make friends and interact with readers who are reading this book and to read along with us and talk about what could be.
That is all we have for you today. I'm so excited to get started with Silver Flames, that big bad boy. I've been dreading starting because of the size. I've been very intimidated, but we will eventually be excited about it as soon as we start. Well, we did kind of start already, so I'm already over it, but
Yeah.
talk to me at the end of Silver Flame how I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll touch base
Please
then.
let us know what you think by leaving us a review and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in.
Yes, don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. And we hope the rest of your day is blissful. Bye!
Thank you so much for listening. Join us next week where we start part 1 of A Court of Silver Flames, covering chapters 1 through 9. Happy reading!